best suya in Hound. Come get your suya.
Everyone just needs to be patient. Patient? I've been waiting for hours!
I wonder what makes that suya glow.
They say it's magic, a taste of the old gods.
In the sprawling, humid city of Owujulama, known for its beautiful flowers and its merciless heat, the most addictive thing wasn't money or gossip, it was the charred, spiced meat sold by Chibuzo. Chibuzo's stall sat at the far edge of the Gwanje market, almost hidden near the dusty road leading out of the city. Yet, every evening, people flocked there. His meat, marinated in a spice blend of unnerving perfection, created an instant, blinding euphoria. It was the flavor of the happiest memory you ever had, magnified tenfold. But that joy was a lie. A minute after swallowing Chibuzo's suya, a strange, hollow hunger returned, not for more meat, but for the feeling itself. This desperate craving drove the entire city mad. The man himself was the first mystery. He never spoke much, never looked tired. His lean body perpetually still draped in a clean, starched apron. He never seemed to sleep, and his eyes, bright and unnervingly static, watched everything. The second, more terrifying mystery was his grill. It burned with an eternal, odorless heat, fueled by coals that never diminished and casting a shadow that often seemed to belong to a much larger, darker man. Every evening, the scene at Gwanje Market was pure chaos. The queue for Chibuzo's stall stretched longer than 3 lorries packed end to end. It was a nightly battlefield. People, from businessmen to teenagers, would push, scream, shove, and occasionally engage in absurd wrestling matches just to get to that far corner of the market, even if it's to secure the last stick of suya. It was a funny, yet mind-blowing spectacle. Once, 2 elders nearly came to blows over a stray piece of liver, a bizarre scene for such respected figures. This fervor drove the other suya vendors mad. They had the best spots, right in the center, yet they were ignored. First was Kanu of the goat, whose family had sold suya for 5 generations. Kanu specialized in traditional kilishi. His work was honest, but his stall was now empty. Kanu would stand there, shaking with an ugly, frantic jealousy. He does not sweat. His spices make no sense. Kanu would rage to his wife, Uju. Kanu tried to replicate the secret by spending all his money on the most expensive ingredients, but his suya tasted merely good, never perfect. One night, in a fit of pure frustration, Kanu tried to throw water on Chibuzo's eternal fire. The water evaporated instantly, and Chibuzo only gave Kanu a slow, vacant smile that chilled him to the bone. Next was Ikoet, the spice sorceress. Ikoet was known for her complex, 30-ingredient rubs. She was so convinced Chibuzo used chemicals that she took his suya to a laboratory. The result? Pure, unadulterated spices and meat, perfectly preserved. This scientific failure only confirmed her fear that Chibuzo was using something ancient and terrible. They all tried everything possible to lure the people back to them, all to no avail. Nkechi, a former history teacher with a mind trained to spot lies woven into timelines, noticed the pattern. Her first clue was the fatigue. Everyone who ate Chibuzo's suya was initially euphoric, then quickly fatigued. They always returned the next day looking subtly older, their smiles duller, their eyes less focused. They gained flavor but seemed to lose vitality. Nkechi knew true culinary perfection came from skill and patience. This perfection tasted like sacrifice. She didn't crave the suya, she craved the truth. Nkechi's investigation took a personal turn. After consuming the suya one evening, she had a terrifying, recurring dream. She was standing in a barren field, and small, shimmering pieces of light were being scraped from her chest by a dark, enormous spoon. She was not injured, but she felt hollowed out. She returned to the stall and waited for the night. She noticed the shadow phenomenon. Chibuzo's shadow was always slightly delayed, but tonight, she saw that when he laughed, a brief, dry, unconvincing sound, his actual reflection in a nearby storefront window did not move. It stared straight ahead. Chibuzo was present, but something vital had been removed. Nkechi went to the old books of history and discovered the folklore of the gluttonous spirit of Ekoko. This ancient entity didn't demand goats or yams, but emotional vitality. Its victims were always successful, but emotionally vacant husks. She sought out old market records and discovered that Chibuzo had vanished from Owujuloma 10 years ago, only to reappear a year later, strangely youthful and radiating a cold intensity. During that missing year, his young son, Jaidiofo, had been near death from a mysterious wasting sickness. The boy was cured the same week Chibuzo opened his store. This was the key. She found Jaidiofo playing near the city fountain. The boy was robust and healthy, but when Kechi casually offered him a piece of Chibuzo's suya, Jaidiofo recoiled with genuine, panicked fear. Papa says that suya is not for me, the boy whispered, his eyes darting toward the market. Nkechi felt a shiver of realization. The father sacrificed himself so the son could live, but the son was protected from the very horror that saved him. Nkechi armed herself with an old piece of chalk inscribed with a counter word and cornered Chibuzo at his store just before dawn holding up the chalk. The gluttonous spirit of Ekoku, Nkechi stated, naming an ancient, near-forgotten demon of endless appetite. You did not make a bargain for wealth, Chibuzo. You bargained for your son's life. Chibuzo's face twisted in pain. His bright eyes dimmed momentarily. The shadow behind Chibuzo suddenly detached, thickening into a hulking, shimmering form, the spirit of Ekoku. It let out a sound like the grinding of dry bones. It was the only way, he choked out, his voice a dry rasp, suddenly sounding like an old man. I sold myself in exchange for Jaidiofo's breath. Chibuzo fell to his knees. Ekoku did not want money or gold. It wanted sustenance. It consumes my soul piece by piece. Every night, the entity grinds a fraction of my memory, my capacity for joy, my love, into the spice blend. The spice mix, it is not just pepper, he confessed. Every morning, Ekoku's presence, the eternal fire, grinds down the latest fraction of my soul. My capacity for happiness, my peace, the memories of my wedding, they all become a fine, potent powder. The suya tastes like the happiest memory of your life because that happiness is literally being pulled from me and served to you. That is why it is so perfect. The suya tastes like human happiness because it is my former happiness. He continued, his confession fueled by a desperate desire for absolution. The hunger the customers feel. That is Ekoku's hunger, clinging to them. They crave the soul spice because the demon wants them dependent. They are not eating meat, they are eating the dissolving remnants of my humanity, and they don't even know it. As he confessed, the spirit of Ekoku recoiled from the charcoal, dragging Chibuzo's shadow back into its form. The last sliver of the man's strength vanished. Nkechi had her answers. She quickly smashed the spice tin containing the soul-lace blend. The turquoise fire roared one last time before extinguishing forever. She left Chibuzo huddled by his now cold, dark grill. The market would open soon, and the people of Ujulama would realize their beloved Suya man, and the cost perfection he offered, was gone forever. They would go back to Konu's tough Chevon and Ikoet's simple seasonings, forever haunted by the taste of the mysterious Suya that vanished, leaving only a memory of unparalleled delight and an inexplicable, lingering fatigue.